All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bigote Brothers
Bigote Brothers.
podcast. Live from New Zealand and LA. At it again
Oh,
for another round of talk.
yep.
All right,
Another
so what
round
do you got?
of another round of Laker updates. Then we're gonna move on to, as promised, our what if. It's a series that we're gonna do of and scenarios in the past and NBA history that we just wanted to speculate. What if this happened? So we'll get to that later.
It's going to be exciting. I'm
Yeah.
excited about that. Let's start with the current news. So, obviously,
Yeah.
um, not a lot of stuff right now with the NBA Cup going on, but the Lakers did have a game.
Yep.
For recording this, actually, the Lakers are going to be playing the Wolves soon.
The
But
Wolves today.
before
Yep.
that, we got a win against
Portland.
Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a win. A win is a win.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not a good team,
Then
but
last
LeBron didn't play.
Right, and then last time we got together on the show, they played the Hawks, which was heartbreaking.
Oh my
We
god!
lost to Trey Young, buzzer beater or game winner.
Do you know what? I actually knew that they were gonna lose that game when I saw how close it was.
Yeah,
I had an idea they were gonna do it. I was surprised it even went to OT with all that,
hmm
but I wasn't surprised at all that Trey Young got the last shot. That was
yeah,
just bad.
that's bad. Yeah,
But
we called out LeBron and AD during our last podcast. We called them out. We wanted to see them step it up offensively. They did.
they did.
They did.
Yes,
Yep.
they actually went 30
Yep.
each in that game. That was great. But everyone else just faltered, and obviously, I think they're really having trouble with the defense right now.
Mhm.
The effort that they're all giving, because they didn't lose that game on offense, right?
No.
We already knew that they lost that game because they weren't defending. The open shots that Trey Young got, that's not acceptable for a team that actually wants to
You
win.
don't leave that good of a shooter open.
No,
Mm.
no, you just don't. You just they didn't deserve to win that game.
Right.
How they played defense.
hmm
I mean, obviously LeBron and AD, props to them for actually stepping up like they should.
Oh yeah.
But that the effort on the defensive end was just bad, and yeah, I
Mhm.
wasn't surprised with the way they lost that game.
Yep.
Another heartbreaking buzzer beater.
Yeah.
But look,
Bounce back win against Portland. Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty good. D'Lo actually had a good game.
They had a great game.
He was starting,
Yeah.
and he had a good game. And as expected, when he gets a lot more of the ball, he's just gonna produce. We know that.
Yeah.
But the problem with him is this is a LeBron team, and he's
Yeah.
not. He has to produce when he doesn't have the ball. Which with the how many years? The 3 years since he's been back, he struggled. He struggled doing that, right?
hmm That's true.
S-
Yeah.
So I mean, look, right now it's the 14th here in New Zealand. I know it's
Mhm.
a year a day back, so it's the 13th.
Yep.
December 15 is when a lot of the players who were signed in the offseason can actually get traded
Can
now.
get traded now. Yeah. Yeah.
So, unofficially, December 15th in the NBA is essentially what is the opening of trade season. Now,
hmm
we've already seen some rumors that the Lakers are involved in some deals. So,
Yes.
the first deal that is being reported out there is that they're engaging the Wizards, which I
hmm
think the Wizards have been the feeder team for the Lakers for a while,
Yeah.
right? They got they got Westbrook obviously, which is bad,
Brooke.
but they got Rui in that deal as well.
They got Rui. hmm
So they're engaging the Wizards right now. So the deal is centered around Gabe Vincent
hmm
plus 2 second-round picks for Jonas Valanciunas.
For
What do you think about that trade, man?
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. We have not seen Gabe Vincent produce consistently this year
No.
on offense. Um, and you give away a bunch of second round picks for Jonas Valanciunas, who can can play the five. Number one, he can play the five, move 80 to the four where he's more comfortable at, and have that big body on defense, which we need. We need that physicality from Valanciunas. So, I think I think it's a good trade. I think it's a good trade.
Yeah, you made a good point, right? Because
Yeah.
since 2020, I believe, or 2021, AD has moved to the five,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And look, he's been great defensively, but
Mhm.
you can see sometimes he's being a little bit worn out. And obviously against the big bruising centers like Jokic, who's
Jokic. Yeah.
absolutely owned him,
Oh,
he's
Jokic,
struggled.
Jokic owns him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think yes. So Jonas being there will definitely help take a little bit of the load off.
Hmm.
Hopefully he can return back to his old self and he can perform against Jokic because let's face it, they're gonna be facing that guy for a while.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
So you have to at least have someone to body
Hmm.
him. Like they used
Yeah.
to have JaVale and Dwight there,
Dwight Howard.
but
Yeah.
Jok
Mm.
AD has shown he can't handle him alone, right?
No, no, no. Yeah, yeah. I mean, uh, moving 80 to the four now has they kind of have that manpower to shut down the middle for other teams rather than you have AD as a five and who's Rui as a four who kind of plays a little bit more outside, you know. But we need that physicality for big men like Jokic and Embiid also, you know.
Even if he's only played 5 games.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, seriously, it's good. It's good to have a big center. I don't think AD should be a center anymore.
Mm.
At this
No.
stage of the game, he should be just hanging out at the four. Just
Yeah.
it's just not his game, right? He's more of
Mm.
a finesse player to begin with anyway. So having
He,
him at the
yep.
four will really benefit him, hopefully in the long run.
Yeah.
So the Lakers are rumored to target a big, which looks like it's gonna be Jonas. They
Hmm.
also want a point guard, as you mentioned. Gabe Vincent has been really horrible
Yep.
since he signed that contract. He's either
Hmm.
been injured or trash,
Or
essentially.
yeah.
So D'Lo is no better. We already seen him, right?
Yeah.
So D'Lo in the past years has been good in the regular season.
D'Lo has been stellar in the regular season, especially down the stretch 2 years ago.
Yeah,
2023, early 2023, before we got swept by the Nuggets. He was great.
he was great. He was
Yeah.
great. He's just horrible in the playoffs. That's
Yeah.
just the knock on him. And
Hmm.
the numbers support it. If you look at his numbers, he's really decent in the regular season. He's a borderline all star, but when it comes to the playoffs, that's when his numbers drop.
Yeah.
It's I don't know why. Maybe it's a mental thing. I don't know, but he's
Could
just
be.
not performing. Yeah,
It's just not big game. It's just not for him. It's like when it matters. That's when the numbers have that's what separates the greats from merely good players. The greats will want that playoff atmosphere, and
that's true.
you'll see people like what, MJ, like Magic. You'll see their stats increase during the
Yep.
playoffs, and that's what kind of separates great players from just good players. Yeah,
Which is ironic because he's the one who originated the ice in the veins, the
I
celebration,
know
right?
you have to have that
That,
for the postseason, bro.
that's so weird. That's so weird.
Yeah,
He created something really good, but
yeah,
he can't back it up.
yeah.
That's just sad.
We need that in the
That's
playoffs.
well, I
Yeah.
think for what it's worth, I think we can really predict that he's gonna be gone.
He's gonna be done.
He's been there for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
They've been trying to trade him for 3 years, but he's definitely one. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be gone. He's not gonna be a Laker after February,
Right.
basically. So, given the fact that they're looking at a point guard, then that means his role is gone. And if they do
Yeah.
get Jonas, switch 80 to the four, Jonas is definitely going to start. What's that going to happen to the rest of the lineup? They're going to get a point guard. LeBron's going to slide back to the three, and then
Yeah.
you have Austin Reeves at the two. That's
Reeves.
it.
Yeah.
That's your lineup. And then Rui's going to go back to the bench,
Yeah.
and that's it. You just get some other borderline players to fill out your roster.
Yep.
So that was it.
That's
So, and
that's
speak.
as long as we have that starting five, solid starting five. Then we have Rui off the bench. We have, I don't know, um, dare I say it, trading Gabe Vincent opens up some room for Bronny James.
Oh my god. Well,
You know,
to be fair to him, he actually had his best game
he
last
scored
night.
30
30
with
points
the South
on the
Philly.
road as well.
Yep.
Props to him. I mean,
Yeah.
look, it's not really a good barometer for a player, given
Yeah.
that Jalen Hood-Schifino averaged 20 points
Yeah.
in the G League.
Yep.
but I mean, it's good. I mean, coming from that kid has gone through a lot, right? So
I
obviously,
get the yeah, I get the flack he's receiving, from other people because of the expectation being LeBron's son. But you just give him credit. He's trying. He's trying to make it.
yeah.
He's trying to make it.
Look, the dude just had a heart scare.
Yeah,
He didn't even know he was going to be here, and
yeah,
he's here. So
exactly.
look,
Yeah.
my thing with him is I completely understand why he was drafted. I
Mm.
completely
Oh
understand why
yeah, yeah,
LeBron forced the team
hmm
to draft. I get that. It's
yeah,
my main issue with Bronny James is his contract.
yeah,
So usually guys drafted that low are on two-way contracts,
yeah.
right?
Or
So for
league minimum.
even if
Mm.
the two-way contract means that he's not taking up a spot on the 15-man roster. So the 15
Right.
man rosters are your guaranteed contracts, right? So these are the ones that are essentially your assets. You can't
Mm.
trade two-way players,
Yeah.
right? So you can only trade those 15 that you sign on the guaranteed side. Now,
Mm.
from a Lakers perspective, they have two untouchable players, right? They have LeBron and AD. You can't trade
Mhm.
them. There's nothing you can do that you can't move them. So they added Bronny to that list. So Lakers are actually working with 12 roster spots instead of maybe 13 or 14 like other teams are. So that's the
Mhm.
disadvantage that he brings.
Yep.
So he's not contributing. He's unmovable,
Mm.
and that's my issue. But it
Yeah.
is what it is. I get it.
Yeah.
It was probably a prerequisite for LeBron
For
staying.
LeBron, yeah. Hmm.
So that's it. And let's face it, this team is can only go as far as LeBron can take them.
True.
That's the reality of this team. And
Hmm.
speaking of which, he's not going to be playing this Minnesota game
Nope.
because he's on time off. He's basically got a
Personal time
got
off.
a vacation leave for
Hmm.
after saying that he's going to play 82, which obviously didn't happen now
Hmm.
with Portland. Um, JJ Redick said the team said that he's out for personal reasons. So,
Yep.
what do you think is happening here?
Um, I know for a fact that he has some sort of a minor injury. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
Right.
his foot is
His
bothering him.
foot. His
Yes.
foot's bothering him. Yeah. So, but again, I know, knowing LeBron, um, I know he gets some flack for load management and stuff, but I know that there are times that he would play throughout a minor through a minor injury. So, but I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm not really sure what's I don't know if what's going on with his family. I hope everything's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got the word from JJ Redick, and he's sitting out the Minnesota game. But hey, they won. They won last. They won last.
Minnesota's a totally different team.
Yeah,
I don't think they can beat Minnesota without LeBron in
without
there.
LeBron. Mm.
I think this is gonna be a loss. But there were some rumors that I saw floating online about what this is. So the first
Mm.
thing I saw was I think his Bryce James and is playing somewhere, and he
Mm.
just wants to watch that game.
Okay.
So that's the first rumor.
Mm.
Which is look, it's understandable, right? Look,
Yeah.
the Lakers aren't going anywhere this year. LeBron is essentially on a victory lap
Yeah.
before before he announces his retirement this offseason. He's on a
Mm.
victory lap. And I don't think he expects them to win anyway. So just give the man a break. Dude's 40.
Yeah. He's 40. Yeah.
Dude's
Yeah.
40. Give him a break.
Yeah.
So look, the way let's move on. So we've set this specific episode off for one reason, right? So
Yeah.
it's the 13th year anniversary of basketball reasons. So every Laker fan knows what
We
that
kind of know what
means.
basketball reasons means and how it's yeah it's
so this specific one that we
it's
wanted
this
to
moment
discuss.
of elation, this moment of jubilation, and then this moment of devastation. And it happened in like a span of what, a day.
It's been a day. So so
Between the trade and the veto, right? A day,
exactly.
a
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
So what we're going to be discussing is what if the Chris Paul trade wasn't vetoed.
Yep.
So let's start with a little bit of background, right? So
Yeah.
it's been 13 years since that happened.
To the
All
day,
right.
right?
Well, it's
No,
the
not
9th
not
of December. A couple of days
not
passed, but
December.
it's 13 years now
Uh,
when David Stern essentially vetoed that trade from
mm,
the Lakers and the Hornets and the
yep.
Rockets, the three-team trade, and he said it was basketball reasons. That was it.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were at that time? What you were doing?
Yes. I remember where I was. I was at my first job. Yeah.
So you
I
were
was
working,
I was at my first job. My first job was I was a document scanner
right?
for like legal for litigation support, and that's all we did. We scan documents and digitize them. And I was there when they made that trade, and I was so happy. It was like Chris Paul finally have a point guard. You know?
So were you watching on the TV or were you on your phone? How
I was
did you
on my,
find out about it?
I was actually was I on my phone? No, I heard it on the radio actually.
It was on the radio. Okay.
Yeah, I was going home on the on I heard on the car radio.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was right. That's right because it happened. It happened late your time. Okay,
yeah.
so to give a context on my side, I do remember what happened. I remember where I was. So I
Mm.
was in Singapore at this time. I was
Uh-huh.
working there, and this was in the morning. This happened in the
Mhm.
morning for us. Around I believe it was 9 or 10 a.m. or something like that. Just the
Uh-huh.
start of the workday, right?
Yep.
And I saw the trade ticker pop up on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. I saw the bomb. I saw the trade
Was it
report
Watch
that
Bomb?
I don't recall fully, but I just remember seeing it on Twitter saying, "Hey, Chris Paul is going to the Lakers." Okay, okay, right? And then the funny thing happened. There was a fire drill in the building,
Oh.
so he actually had to come out. We were walking. I was smiling the whole time, and I had office mates who were big LeBron fans. And
Uh-huh.
remember this LeBron just joined the Heat,
It's
right?
Jordan Heat. Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
year
The
prior.
year before, yeah.
So I was talking mad shit. I was like, he's good. You know, we finally get the Kobe LeBron matchup we're gonna want. Blah blah blah. Talking shit.
Right.
LeBron's not gonna win a ring.
Yeah.
You know that because you know we were walking to scorching hot outside, right? And then after a while, I was just refreshing and refreshing. I thought it wasn't
Yeah.
real, and
Mm.
then I saw it got vetoed. What?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? What happened? And then I was just messed up their whole day. And
Yeah.
the funny thing about that office was, it was on top of a mall.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I just instead of going back to the office, I just went to the mall and ate. Probably went played some arcade games for a couple of minutes before going back to work.
I remember, I remember clearly because Pau Gasol, one of my favorite Lakers, we just came off the two championships, and then we had that year in 2011 prior to the trade where we got swept by the Mavericks.
Oh yeah, yes,
The lasting image of that series was Andrew Bynum's hard Bush League, what Mike
that
Breen
was
called
horrible.
Bush
Yeah,
League foul on JJ Barea.
was it a
Um,
body check or a clothesline?
it was a
I
body
gotta
check.
watch that again. It was a body check,
He
right?
hit him in the rib cage with an
Oh, that's
elbow.
right. While Barea was in the air,
And the
yeah, yeah,
shot went
yeah.
in. The shot went in.
That was just indicator of what
Yeah,
the season
yeah.
was.
And I
Yeah.
remember Pau Gasol had a horrible playoff. So my thinking was when I first found out about the trade, I'm like, oh shoot, we got Chris Paul. All right, who did we get? Who did we give up? And they were like Pau Gasol. I'm like, man. So we had to give up Pau Gasol for Chris Paul. I'm like, okay, it's still a good trade, but I mean Pau Gasol, one of my favorite Lakers, but and I think I even probably made a post about it. I made a post. I posted on Facebook between the trade and the veto. I was like, "Oh, we got Chris Paul." And I was even like, "Thank you, Pau, for the two championships." But and then yeah, the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, he was supposed to go to the Rockets. So the
Yep.
trade was, right? So the
Mhm.
Rockets are going to get Pau. The Hornets are going to get Lamar Odom. One of my
Mhm.
favorite Lakers, by the way. He's one of my
Lamar,
favorite Lakers.
the goods.
The goods, yeah. They were going to get Lamar Odom. They were going to get Luis Scola, who was coming off a great year with the
Uh-huh.
Rockets. They were going to get Kevin Martin, who was also coming off a great year with the
Yep.
Rockets. Goran Dragic, and a first round pick.
Yeah.
That was a good haul for the
Oh
Hornets.
yeah,
Obviously,
for
the
Hornets, yeah,
Lakers got
yeah,
Chris
yeah,
Paul,
absolutely.
so it was a I think okay. So we're obviously biased here because we're Laker fans, but looking at it, taking a step back, looking at it objectively,
Uh,
given those players, the Hornets would have gotten really better, right? So
oh yeah,
the
yeah.
remember because the Hornets didn't make the playoffs the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
The year prior to the
Year
year prior to
prior.
that, they went to the playoffs with Chris Paul the recent year. They got beat by the Lakers that
Mm-hmm.
year
Yeah.
before the Lakers lost to the Mavs. But prior to that, they were kind
Oh,
of
the facial, the Okafor facial.
yes, that was the
Yeah,
one. That was the
yeah,
one. Yeah. So when Kobe yammed it on Emeka
yep.
Okafor, so prior to that, the Hornets weren't really going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the context here is that when Chris Paul demanded a trade, he said that he wasn't gonna re-sign with the Hornets for
Lawrence, yeah, yeah.
after his contract expires in
Mm-hmm.
2011 2012. So
Right.
that's what compelled the Hornets to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what were they doing there? He was running pick and roll with David West, right? They were one
Yeah.
of the better defensive teams in the league. They were 10th in defensive rating, the Hornets.
Mm.
So it's not like they were bad. It's just
No.
they were mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean, you could count on them making the playoffs, but not making that run to the finals. No,
yeah, they
not
won't.
possible. Not in the West. Yeah.
And the trade haul that they would have gotten, I mean, they would have been a perennial playoff team for a while with
Yeah.
that core. I mean, look, we can assume what happens to Lamar after that. We know that
Mhm.
after he was included in these trade talks and that failed, he wasn't the same. Right?
He wasn't the same.
This was start of his
No.
downfall. But let's assume that he
Yeah.
was going to perform. Let's assume that he was going to perform. He
Mm-hmm.
was a six man of the year candidate the year prior. He was
Yep.
really good. He was still good. And
Yeah.
him, Scola, and Kevin Martin, they
Mm-hmm.
would have been a playoff team.
Yep.
So
Build around that
obviously,
core. You know, Kevin
yeah,
Martin.
he could.
I think Kevin Martin is one of the most underrated scorers.
Oh, he's a pure scorer. The guy
Yeah.
was a pure scorer.
Yeah.
For those who didn't watch him, he just puts
Mm.
the ball in the hole. He
Oh yeah.
barely plays defense,
Yeah.
but he can
True.
put the ball in the hole.
Yep.
You know, and Luis Scola is one of the better big men out of Europe.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we know what he can do. He got
Physical.
yammed on by Gabe Norwood. I don't know if you watched that clip a lot
Yep.
in the FIBA games, right?
Yep. World Cup.
So, but he's been a good contributor for the Rockets.
Mhm.
Again, that team would have been a playoff team, right?
Oh yeah.
With that core moving forward. And don't forget, Goran Dragic was a throw in that trade, and he ended up being
Gordon
having
Dragic. Yeah.
yeah, he
Gordon
ended up having a
Dragic.
decent career.
2010 Phoenix was shooting pretty well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was shooting pretty well,
He would come off
and
the bench for the Suns. I remember he got into it with Vujacic.
yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Goran, that was the start of his. He was trending upwards before on that year 2010
Yeah.
2011.
Yep.
He would have been their point guard is
Mhm.
what happened. So that's essentially your starting four. You just need a center or
Right.
maybe a power forward and you're good.
Yeah.
And you've been maybe a first round, second round team. And if you made a couple improvements, you might have gone further.
Yep.
But obviously, that was what the trade was. The parameters of the trade. Now, another wrinkle in this is that there was a lockout that year. I don't know if you remember that one.
There was a lockout that year, yes.
Yeah, that was I think the most recent lockout after the '97 one,
Yeah,
if I
the most
recall
recent
correctly.
one, and then remember the season started on Christmas Day.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that year of that trade, the NBA was a lockout, and NBA players were playing overseas. And for
Yeah.
those Filipino fans, they remember all those
Yeah.
NBA players going to the Philippines, beating up
Yeah.
all the PBA teams.
The smart all stars.
I
You got
watched that on TV. That was pretty good.
Kobe, Durant, James Harden, Chris Paul. Was
I
there.
don't think Chris Paul was there. I
Derrick
think
Rose was there.
Derek Williams from
Derek
the Wolves
Williams,
was there.
JaVale McGee.
JaVale was there. He did
Yeah.
a plank on mid court,
Yeah.
and then
JaVale McGee.
I think that's what almost got him naturalized for the Philippines. By the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
but yeah, that was pretty memorable because I remember I think there was they played 2 games. So the first game they played was against a
The
collection
PBA All
of
Stars.
PBA All
Yeah.
Stars, which obviously they beat up on, and the
Yep.
second game was against the national
Yes.
team at the
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
And this was just fun
It
seeing
was a close game. The national team game, I think, was a was more of a
they
close game than the
they put
PBA.
up a fight. I think
Yeah.
come on, the NBA
Yeah.
players kind of lifted the foot off the gas at the
Yeah.
start, but then when they became serious, it was just over.
Yeah.
And yes, I remember Chris Paul was there, right?
Chris Paul was there. Yeah.
I remember a story where I think he was giving out shoes outside Araneta Coliseum.
Hmm.
So that's right. I remember Chris
Yep.
Paul was there. That's right. So that was their lockout, and then also the biggest wrinkle in that, the biggest part of the context of that picture was that the NBA actually owned the Hornets at the time.
Yeah. Yep.
So the NBA's were in the interim owners
Hmm.
because I believe that the Hornets are trying to be sold.
They were trying to be sold. Yeah. Yeah. And
So
then during that time, like the NBA kind of took over for a few or for a whole. I think was it a full year?
I don't recall the full year, but
Mm.
essentially that off season, what happened was, from what I remember, so David Stern was acting owner,
Hmm.
but obviously the whole league was the old 30 owners, 29,
Yeah.
were owners as well. And then the biggest thing that I can remember is that the general manager of the Hornets at the time, Del Demps.
Yeah.
I remember seeing an article that he was given full authority to make trades.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
So that was it. So when Chris Paul asked out, that was the first thing that they did, and obviously the Lakers jumped on it,
Hmm.
and we all know what happened. It didn't go through.
Yeah.
Stern said basketball reasons.
Hmm.
The final trade ended up being the Chris Paul going to the Clippers, along with cash, and
Yeah.
then the Hornets got Al Farouk Aminu, who's out of the league.
Yep.
Eric Gordon, which I think he's still in the league, but on his
Still in
last
the league.
legs.
Yeah.
Chris Kaman, who ended up on the Lakers anyway, but he's out of the league. And they got a first round pick from the Wolves, which ended up being Austin Rivers.
Yeah.
So, well, to be fair, Austin Rivers had a great high school career, and
Yeah.
he was, he's not like Bronny, obviously. Sorry.
No.
He actually had one of the sickest high school mixtapes ever.
Mhm.
And he went to
Yep.
Duke. He was a legit prospect, right? He was a lottery pick. He was a
Good,
legit
yeah.
prospect.
Mhm.
But obviously, we all know how that ended up, and
Yeah.
the Clippers ended up forming one of the best uh, lineups that they had in their history, and one of the most exciting
entertaining.
ones.
Yep.
One of the most entertaining
Lob
ones, you're right?
City.
Lob City.
Oof.
So that was that. So after that trade got vetoed, obviously we all know what happened to the Lakers.
Yep.
They tried to rebuild, couldn't,
Yep.
and they got Dwight Howard. The was it the year after? Yeah, the year after that.
Yep.
After 2011,
Bosh,
2012,
Dwight
yes.
Howard.
And they Kobe tore his Achilles, and that was it. That was it for that Lakers.
That's another what if story in the future.
That's gonna be painful, but yes, it
Yeah,
has to be
you
done.
guys
It has to be
yeah.
done. Yes,
Yeah.
we have to do something for Kobe.
Yep.
So now, what if what if it didn't get vetoed? What would happen, right?
Ah. So first of all, we would have got. Well, no wait. From a roster standpoint, we have. Who do we have? We have CP3. We have Kobe. Um,
So
we
I
don't have
think
we don't have a small forward.
there was
and
Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes and Meta World Peace were there,
Yep.
so that would have been a decent small forward
Yeah.
rotation. So
Meta World Peace was still. Oh yeah.
yeah, he was still there. He was still there.
Yeah.
He was on his last legs, but he was
Yep.
still there again. Also, Phil Jackson retired after that season.
Yeah.
After that, Bynum hit on Berea, so
Yeah.
that would have been sad. But
Mhm.
here's the thing, right? Look, Gilbert Arenas talks a lot of shit, but I'd like to believe he has some inside info on this one. So
uh,
he mentioned that. Okay, so to put it in context, the Lakers got Dwight Howard on the 2012-2013 season, right? That 2012 off season. That was a year after this one, right? A year or two after this one. Now,
right.
the rumor was, at least to Gilbert Arenas, what was going to happen was the Chris Paul trade was actually the first move that the Lakers were going to do that year.
Mm-hmm.
So after they got Chris Paul, they were going to do the buying him for Dwight Howard swap,
For Dwight Howard, yeah. Mm.
right? So for the 2011-2012 season, potentially the Lakers could have had Kobe Bryant at 32 years old,
Mm-hmm.
Chris Paul at 25 years
25.
old,
Yeah.
and Dwight Howard at 25 years old. So they
Mm-hmm.
still had 1 year of their contracts left, and obviously they're going to resign that.
Right.
So let's start with that. So they would have had a core of Kobe, CP3, and
Dwight Howard.
Dwight.
Yeah. That's the big three. Yep.
That's the big three in their primes, and they're still young.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think? First of all, how do you see those three coexisting?
Well, that's a good question. Point is, would Phil Jackson have retired? Because it could go two ways. If Phil Jackson didn't retire, they would have ran the triangle with a ball dominant Dwight Howard and the ball dominant Kobe, and a ball dominant Chris Paul. So, how do you think would that work? X and O standpoint. You have CP3, Kobe, Dwight Howard running the triangle, which is basically you have a ball dominant shooting guard, but your center doesn't have to be like a scorer unless you're Shaq, for example. But it involves a lot of ball movement, a lot of sharing, a lot of backdoors, and a lot of off ball movement. So I'm not sure, how do you think that would translate on the court with those three?
Okay, so what I see here is that yes, Dwight Howard's ball dominant. I think at that point he wanted to be the focal point of the offense, right?
Mhm.
But the thing is with Dwight, he doesn't have the moves in the post.
Yeah,
He's more of a bulldozer in there.
yeah,
He's a strong. He's a guy who can do a lot of offensive rebounds,
right.
and a guy who's very athletic as far as putbacks is concerned.
Hmm.
How I would see it playing out is Phil was definitely going to use Dwight's athleticism
Right.
to its benefit, right? I'm guessing that there's going to be a lot of cutting to the basket for Dwight,
Hmm.
right? And then, first and foremost, Kobe will be the focal point of the triangle.
Yeah.
That's non-negotiable, I believe. I don't think Kobe would have preferred it any other way
No.
because
Yeah.
he's the most effective post-up threat they have. They have to run him on the high post.
Right.
That's just the only way this is going to work. So, what I would see happening in that scenario was Kobe was going to be he's going to take the Jordan role, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? The focal point of the triangle.
Mhm.
You have Dwight's athleticism benefiting the system because he can make a lot of off-ball cuts. He can move around on maybe from the dunker spot or from the high post moving on the weak side when Kobe gets because Kobe's going to get a lot of attention, right?
Oh yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
given. So once he grabs that attention, then you have Dwight free on the inside.
Yep.
And as far as Chris Paul goes, who better to throw those entry passes in the post
Then Chris Paul. Yeah.
than Chris Paul? Plus, let's not forget that apart from being a good pick and roll guy, Chris Paul is a damn decent mid range shooter. Let's
Yeah.
not forget that.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
had a great shot, right?
Yep.
He has a great shot. So I see him fulfilling that kind of role that Steve Kerr or Ron Harper did in that team.
Right, with the Bulls. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened is, Ron Harper got a lot of mid range shots with
Right.
the Bulls and then the Lakers, and then obviously Steve Kerr had some open shots as well when Michael
Right.
got doubled. So
Yeah.
I see that the same thing happening to him.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I believe that Phil would have if Phil was the coach, and for this assumption, I think we should make that. I think Phil should be the coach here. I don't think he would have retired if that
Yeah.
super team came to fruition.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they would not stick to a strict triangle and maybe run some pick and rolls to Dwight and
Uh-huh.
CP3, especially when Kobe is on the bench.
Mhm.
So Phil is we know Phil is smart enough to adjust that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think it's not going to be a seamless fit, but
Maybe some
given how
struggles. Yeah.
yeah, it's going to have a lot of struggles at the
Yeah.
start, like everything. But we all know how capable Phil is at managing teams.
Oh yeah, managing
Apart,
teams, managing egos.
yeah, apart from the X's and O's, that was one of his greatest strengths, right?
Yep.
He's just, the dude managed to tame Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
What more can you ask,
True.
right?
True.
So I
Yep.
think it would have made it work as far as that goes. Now,
Oh yeah.
how about the rest of the roster? We've kind of discussed Meta World Peace and Matt Barnes in
Right.
there,
Matt
but
Barnes. Yeah.
look, the free agent list in that year was pretty good. I'm gonna run down some names for you, okay?
Okay.
So let's
From that
see
year.
one by one how they would affect the team. So
Mhm.
one is Karan Butler returning. So he eventually went to the Mavericks, I believe.
Uh,
So Karan is more of a small forward. Yes, we already have Meta World Peace and Matt Barnes in there, but how do you think Karan would have adjusted this team? I think he would have been capable of playing the four in this system.
Karan can play four. Yeah, I think Karan can play four. He's tough.
Tough
He's
juice, yes, supposed
yep
to be.
yep. he's I remember his shooting. If he's a floor spacer,
A
but I
little
do
bit.
remember he played pretty decent defense.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah
that's one of his strengths. He's more
yeah
of a, I think at the time, I mean, he would be a prototypical 3-and-D player today if he played today,
yeah
given his athleticism and his shooting and his
yeah.
defense. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shane Battier. This is a personal one that I would like. So
I
Shane
love it.
Battier eventually went to the Heat in this one.
The Heat. Yeah yeah.
So Shane Battier is another one. He's another small forward, but he can
Mm-hmm.
also play four.
But Shane Battier was a floor spacer.
He was,
The
yeah.
three,
He's just
he played defense. I mean, he could mix it up. Shane Battier could mix it up. That's the good thing about it. I like his versatility. I know he used to play four in college, and then he switched over to three in the pros. But yeah,
right.
he you can switch it up with him. He's very versatile. And but yeah, on a team which has Matt Barnes, decent 3-point shooter, Meta World Peace can shoot the three and D. And you can have someone off the bench like Battier who's a
Oh,
floor,
dude,
floor
that
spacer.
would have been
Yeah,
such a deadly
yeah.
bench. That would have been a deadly defensive
And
team, right?
off the bench, you have Steve Blake also backing CP3 up. Love
That,
Steve Blake, man.
I love Steve Blake.
He's
He's one of my favorite Lakers. He's one
yeah,
of my favorite
yep,
Lakers, man.
yep.
Yeah, but I think in this scenario, Shane Battier would probably be one of the players I would really like. He would have been a great
Mm,
fit, right, on the
yeah.
four.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think he would just fill that Bill Cartwright, uh, Bill Wennington
Bill
kind
Wayne,
of
yeah.
role where he
Uh,
would get a free shot on the mid range.
mhm.
He would be perfect in that one. It's
Oh
the
yeah.
essential three. All right, next one is I'm not too hot on this guy, but he was still pretty good at this time. Jason
Mm.
Richardson, J. Rich.
J Rich.
Would you think he would have been a good fit in here, given how well this guy is ball
Mm.
heavy for sure?
He's very ball heavy off the bench. Um, Electrifying. He can shoot the three, yeah. But in a system where you have Kobe and CP3, I don't think he's a good fit.
Yeah, I agree. He would have been. He would
Yeah.
have been a great fit.
Mm.
Okay, this one is another one that I would have preferred. They would have gone
Mhm.
Tayshaun Prince.
Oh,
He was free agent. Yeah, he would have been Tayshaun Prince. He could have got. They might have got Tayshaun Prince, and given
he
the fact
doesn't
that
have he doesn't have the scoring of a Scottie Pippen, but he sure has the arms and the defense.
the defense, man. Again, this team is going to be such a great defensive team. Remember, Dwight Howard is the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, he
Chris
was.
Paul is a
Yeah,
Chris Paul was great on defense too.
yeah.
That was this man. Okay, let's run through the list before I get too excited.
Yeah.
So David West is another one. He was a free agent. He
Maybe
eventually
West.
went to Indiana,
Uh-huh.
but
True power forward. Um, had the mid range game as well, right?
yeah, he was playing
Yeah.
a lot of pick and pop with Chris Paul.
Uh-huh.
That's how he got most of his points.
Yep.
I like David West on that team. Again, he could fill that role where in the triangle where you need that role that Carmelo played.
Hmm.
Remember the 2014? I think this
Yeah.
is the role that David West would have played in that
Yeah.
system.
Hmm.
I don't know if he would have taken the role though. I think he still wanted to be a star. He still wanted to get
Right.
paid.
Yeah.
Obviously, anyone who we're talking about here in this list would definitely have to take a lower contract. I
Yeah.
don't think David West would do that, but he would
Yeah.
have been a great fit.
Uh huh.
Okay. Next one is like these are just nostalgia picks right here.
Yeah.
Grant Hill. He
Oh,
eventually went to the Suns.
yeah.
So this was
Grant
the Grant Hill
Hill.
was obviously got it was post injury. He
Mm,
was essentially a 3-and-D at this point in his career.
he was a 3-and-D with Phoenix. He was more tapped to play defense on that Suns team.
Yep.
But oh man, Grant Hill, yeah,
Would have been
yeah,
great. Yeah, would have
yep,
been great. All right, another one. Another one. Vince Carter. I think he eventually went to the Mavs in this one.
right, yeah. This is the time when he was getting past his prime. No more. He wasn't the half man, half amazing Vinsanity player that he
Yeah.
used to be. But I mean, always Vince Carter. Probably after those prime years, he was known as one of the more reliable role players. So yeah, I think off the
He would have been
bench,
off the bench.
yeah,
He would have been great off the
yeah,
bench
who would be great? Yeah,
offensively.
yep.
Yeah. Okay. So these ones are mostly just fillers.
Mm.
Obviously, they didn't have the backup center I wanted to address. So Kenyon Martin and Ronnie Turiaf were free agents, and Kwame Brown as well. So let's
Mm.
discuss those three. So
No,
obviously Kwame was a Laker. You
he
already
was like,
know. He actually did well in the triangle, and
yeah,
Ronnie as well.
mm.
So
Toriyama, yeah, definitely,
yeah.
yeah.
So just as backups, I think having one of those three would be beneficial.
Mm. Right.
Okay, now this is a personal pick for us, and you'll know soon.
Uh huh.
So if they decide to get so another person in the free agent list that year, and hope if they did get Vince Carter, another guy they could have gotten Tracy McGrady.
T Mac.
So another one, yeah,
Was he at the Pistons during this time or the
I
Spurs?
I believe that he went to the Pistons this
He went to
offseason.
Pistons, yeah,
Yeah, if I recall correctly.
yeah.
So look, having Vince Carter and T Mac as a ring chase, that's essentially what was gonna happen here.
Oh
Okay?
man.
I would have loved to
Yeah.
have those
Oh
two
yeah.
on the same team
Mhm.
and win a ring together
Yep.
after all that hype. That would have been amazing. And they
After
couldn't
that,
do it in Toronto.
yeah, that glorious run with the Raptors, and then but they had a falling out when T Mac moved to Orlando.
Yeah, but they're old now. At this
Yeah,
point in
at
time,
this
their
point
careers
should
are
have been.
winding down.
Yeah, yeah, but
So
yeah, that would have been nice.
that
That
would
would
have
have,
been nice, right?
yeah.
They could have just ring chased together. They look. We're gonna discuss this a little bit later on, but a good chance this team wins a ring that year.
Oh
So
yeah,
we'll discuss that in a bit. But it's a good ring chasing team essentially,
right.
right? Okay. Now, what would be the starting lineup, right? Assuming that Phil Jackson actually didn't retire, which is our
Mhm.
assumption here.
Yeah.
Look, they would have had CP3 starting at the point guard,
Mhm.
obviously. You got Kobe.
Mhm.
Your three would be either Matt Barnes or Meta
Mhm.
World Peace. I believe that Barnes was starting this year. I think
Oh
I,
yeah,
I,
uh-huh.
I think Ron Artest was really on the downturn and they were starting Barnes.
Yeah,
And then your four, if you got Shane Battier,
yeah,
he would be your starting four,
right.
and then you had Dwight.
And Dwight, yeah.
That that in itself is probably going to be at least a top five defensive team, right?
Hmm.
At that point in time, and then you
Wow.
got your bench. So the Lakers signed at that year. They just signed Josh McRoberts and Troy Murphy.
Josh McRoberts, yeah.
Yeah, Josh McRoberts. He
Very
had that good
reliable.
year,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
He
He had
can
a
shoot. He can shoot the three. He can rebound. He can play defense.
yeah.
He's
He was
tough.
the stretch
Yeah,
four. He was
yeah,
like one of those starting fresh stretch fours,
yeah.
at least with Indiana. So they would have
Left-handed.
had.
I remember left-handed.
Yeah, he was left-handed. That's
Yeah.
right. And Troy Murphy as well. Troy Murphy
With
was
Murphy.
left-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they would have had him, and
Mhm.
Jordan Hill is a backup center if they didn't
Jordan
pick up
Hill.
any
Yeah,
of these
yeah.
guys.
Hmm.
But if they managed to pick up, let's say, Tayshaun Prince or even Grant Hill and Vince Carter, that bench would have been crazy.
Solid bench. Yeah, yeah.
So now, with that being said, what happened during that year? So 2011,
12.
2012, right? So it was between the championship was the Miami Heat in the East against OKC.
OKC.
This
Yeah.
is this is the KD
Yeah.
Westbrook.
KD
and
Westbrook.
Harden. Yeah,
So we got. I remember. So Phil did retire. We got Mike
yep,
Brown. Season
yep.
started on Christmas Day. We got beat by a last second D Rose
That's the Derrick Rose game.
buzzer
Yes.
beater. Yeah. And then yeah, we lost Fisher.
Oh,
Lost.
that's right. He went to. Did he go to Golden State or OKC?
He went to OKC, I think.
That's right. He went to
Yeah.
OKC. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We
That was the
had
second time.
for point guard. We had Ramon Sessions.
Correct. Hey,
Yeah.
that dude had like 20 assists one game. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this hypothetical situation that they got the big three, right?
Mhm.
The Lakers. I mean, do you think that they would have gotten it past? So it would have been them or OKC at this point.
Yeah.
How do you see that matchup playing out? With obviously this is young KD, young Russ, and young Harden against those three.
Against those three.
Remember, the OKC eliminated the Lakers.
4-1.
I
Yeah.
think a couple years before,
No,
or eventually.
that's
No,
the
no,
year.
they been
Year,
the,
yeah.
the year after that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
That real year, the OKC was the one who eliminated them. That's right.
Yeah. They played the Nuggets and then they lost to OKC.
Right, the second round.
Yeah.
I was in Boracay that time. I remember. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
Remember
they
that
lost.
the play of that series was that Westbrook fast break, and then he got fouled by Sessions and just flipped it,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
win.
That's when you know they
Yeah.
were going to the finals, right?
Yeah.
That's when you know.
Yep.
But hypothetically, if the Lakers had the lineup that we just discussed against that
I don't
OKC
think
team, how do you
OKC
see
would have
that
beat
playing
them.
out?
I don't think OKC would have beat them. I think Chris Paul would have given Westbrook a lot of problems. Especially having Westbrook having to play defense against a prime Chris Paul who could shoot, who could pass, who could slash, and then there's none of the fours or fives of OKC during that time. Who do they have? Who do they have at four? Do they have Chris Stitch or something? Or
Chris Stitch, I forgot.
Jeff
I was gonna.
Green,
I was.
right?
No. I think Jeff Green was already gone by that time.
Oh, but yeah, they wouldn't have an answer for Dwight Howard, and then of course Kobe being Kobe. You know,
Yeah, so I think Harden was still on the bench at that time, I believe.
Harden was on the bench. They had so they had Durant, Jeff Green, but this was a year prior. Cephalosha. And then
Dude, I remember. So they had Nick Collison and Serge Ibaka.
Nick Collison, there you go. Yeah, Serge
Yeah,
Ibaka.
so that was probably what they were starting with.
Right.
They had Cole Aldrich as center as
Cole
well,
Aldrich.
and Kendrick Perkins. I believe that Perkins was the one starting at the time.
Right. Oh,
So
yeah,
they
yeah.
had
Perkins
yeah.
was with them. Yeah, with
Yeah.
that year. Because that
So-
year he got dunked on by Blake.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
they had they were starting KD obviously, Ibaka at the 4, Russ.
For
They had Thabo Cephalosha. That was
Cephalosha,
their starting
yeah.
two, and Harden was coming off the bench, and
Yep.
they had Perkins to start.
Perkins starting. Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah.
No one can handle Dwight Howard in
No,
that,
no
in that
one.
team.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So how about so Thabo was at the time. Well, he was kind of a 3-and-D, but without a 3, right? But he was
Yeah,
still
he's-
shooting a 3 pretty
He's a
decently.
defensive shooting guard. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he was 6'7", 6'8", if I remember
Mm-hmm.
correctly.
Yeah.
He probably would have given Kobe troubles, but again,
Yeah.
in a system like a triangle with those three players, those three are a threat regardless.
Right.
So, again, that did they go 6 games against this OKC team or 5?
When they lost.
Yeah,
5.
was it 5 games?
5. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I don't think
The games, I think
OKC
it was
beats them.
game 1 or game 2 where you had Russell Westbrook 0 turnovers.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was
I know.
yeah. You know it's bad when we say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I don't think OKC would have stood a chance against that team.
No, no.
In their
Yeah.
primes in that scenario.
Yeah.
It would just be
remember the
too-
year before. No, not the year before, but 2 years before, 2010. OKC played the Lakers in the first round and gave
They
us
lost.
problems
Yeah.
because no one could stop Westbrook. No one
Right.
could stop KD. But
Well,
given this lineup with CP3, Dwight Howard, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. You're gonna have Dwight Howard patrolling the paint.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right? He's not gonna get that shot off, right?
No,
This is
no.
okay. So we gotta make an assumption. We know that
Mhm.
Dwight was hurt the year after, but he was
Right.
still pretty good this year, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Westbrook wouldn't they wouldn't have that same opportunities that they did
No.
if
Yeah.
they got inside.
Hmm.
Okay, so we got the Lakers beating OKC in that year, going to the finals
Right.
for that 2011-2012
Hmm.
season, where they would eventually face the Heatles.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing, right?
That
So
would be the
obviously we've
matchup for the
never
weekend.
had a
Yep.
Kobe versus LeBron finals,
Yep.
right? We never had that.
Yep.
I think 2010 was supposed to be that chance, obviously, but the Cavs got upset
The
by the
Celtics
Magic.
won. Yeah.
But in this what if scenario, we would have had the Miami Heat with Wade, Bosh, and LeBron versus CP3, Kobe, and Dwight on the
Dwight
Lakers.
Howard.
How would that play out? Take note,
Huh.
Kobe is 32 at this point.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay,
LeBron is 27, 26.
they're in this. The Heatles are going to be in their prime, right?
Yeah.
And CP3 and Dwight are still getting there.
Beatles in their
But
prime.
how is this going to go, especially against the triangle?
So let's go match
And
up. Let's go match up by match up. Like CP3
all right.
has the advantage at point guard,
Mhm.
obviously. You have Kobe and LeBron basically on level ground.
Kobe's playing the two, LeBron's playing the three, but yes, Kobe would definitely be guarded by
No
LeBron in
way
this
he's
scenario.
gonna not guard LeBron. Yeah,
That's
but
true.
and then you have Chris Bosh at the 4, Howard at the 5. So hypothetically, we
So,
have it's pretty even.
so at this point, right? At this point, Chris Bosh wasn't. Well, in Toronto, he was posting up. He was kind of playing like a KG kind of game.
Yeah, yeah.
But in Miami, he's more of
You're shooting. Yeah,
he's just shooting mid-range jumpers, right? He
right.
was getting the ball from Braun or Wade and getting those jumpers on. So let's assume that for our purposes, what he's gonna do to Dwight is he's gonna draw him out.
Yeah.
I think that would be the strategy that
Mhm.
Spo would use,
Right,
right? Because you want to negate the advantage that Dwight Howard brings. So
right.
just drawing him out using Chris Bosh would probably be the play.
Yep.
But you still had in this specific scenario, you had Shane Battier in there.
Right.
He would probably be guarding LeBron primarily. I know Kobe would want to try it, but Phil won't let
Primarily
him.
LeBron. Yeah. Shane Battier and LeBron. Yeah.
Shane Battier and LeBron would be the matchup at the three, right? And LeBron would probably be guarded. Sorry, Kobe would probably be guarded by Wade at this
Yeah.
time, which it's not gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
he's gonna
Yeah.
he's gonna be yeah. So
I
and
would
look,
say in the 7 game, it would definitely go full 7.
you think 7?
I think
Okay.
I'll go full 7, and with the Lakers winning.
I think that's fair. I
Just
think
because
that's a
they
fair
have that
assessment.
Kobe X factor.
That's fair. I
Yeah.
think that's gonna be. It's gonna come down to a Kobe LeBron shootout, if you
Yep.
want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, on paper, talent wise, I agree that having those big threes against each other would probably be canceling each other out.
Right.
But given the fact that look, the Heat center was Joel Anthony, and their starting point guard was Mario Chalmers.
Mario Chalmers. Yeah.
Right. So, in a hypothetical solution where Battier and Barnes were in that team, I think that's just the advantage there.
Right.
It's
And
just
World Peace can guard anybody. Even
yeah,
the
even
five.
old,
He
even
can
old. Yeah,
guard
he was.
five. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's just too much. There's just too much defense
Mhm.
on that Laker team
Yep.
that they would beat the Heat in 7. Yes, I can agree with that.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the 2011-12 season.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move forward 2012, 2013. Now,
Yeah.
this was when obviously all hell broke loose for the Lakers in real life.
Yep.
They got Dwight Howard for real.
Yep.
They got Steve Nash, who got
Nash.
injured in the first. We're gonna do another what if
Yeah.
on this one, obviously, but they got Steve Nash injured, I believe, in the first couple of games preseason.
Second game of the season.
Second game,
Yeah.
and it was Dame Lillard who did that
Yep.
accidentally, and obviously we got that. It's still hard to discuss the Kobe Achilles injury.
Yep.
Now, again, it was the Heat who came into the finals here, but the Spurs this time made it against them.
Right.
And this, I believe, was the Ray Allen shot.
Yes. Yep.
So they would have had Ray Allen.
Yeah.
And given that, how do you see that with Ray Allen in there now? I think that specific Heat team was a little bit built a little bit better now.
They're built better. But the question is, given that hypothetically the Lakers would have won 2012, would the Heat construct a team for 2013 that was specifically built to beat the Lakers?
That's right. Yeah.
So, if that's the case, then yeah, Ray Allen, good addition. You know, let's say 2012, 2013, we beefed up our bench as well. We got Jameson, we got
Oh, that's right. Jameson was
Antoine
there.
Jameson, Jody Meeks. Those are
there's
the
a lot of-
two role players that we got for 2012.
Let's keep that. Those are and
Yeah.
and then you gotta take into consideration the fact that there's gonna be a lot of ring chasers, right?
Yeah.
For both sides.
Yep.
For both sides.
Mhm.
So the Heat also had at this point Rashard Lewis and Mike Miller.
Rashard Lewis,
There's
Mike
a
Miller.
lot of
Sean
shooting
Marion,
as well.
right?
Sorry?
Sean Marion?
Sean Marion, I believe it was in the year before. I don't think he was with the LeBron era Heat.
He wasn't there. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that was yeah, I don't think he was, but no, he wasn't here.
Uh-huh.
They got Shane Battier when he's with the Lakers in this
Yeah.
hypothetical scenario.
Norris
So-
Cole.
Norris Cole.
Yeah.
Oh, they got Birdman. They got more
Birdman.
bodies. They got more bodies to throw
Yeah,
at
more
Dwight,
bodies,
basically.
yeah. And
Yeah.
makes sense if you had a team that stacked as the Lakers. Makes sense to get more bodies. Yeah.
So this is essentially a stacked Heat team as well with
Oh, yeah.
shooters. And but the thing is here, they almost lost to the Spurs, right?
Yeah.
I believe were they 3-2 down? Was it 3-2?
They were 3-2 down.
And then Ray Allen hit that shot,
Ray
right?
Allen hit that miracle shot, and then Game 7.
They won Game 7.
Yeah.
That's how they won. Look, they scraped by the
Yeah.
Spurs. They scraped by the Spurs. They would have been. I think it would have been another easy win for Lakers. I think it would have gone 6 this time. Given the fact that the Spurs, they were good this year. They were 58-24, and obviously, this was the year they had Kawhi. So I see what happened in the WCF that year probably would be a struggle against the Spurs. They probably have taken 6 or 7 games against
Right.
the Spurs. But given the fact that as far as defensively the Lakers are still sound, they should still be able to beat the Heat.
Yeah, they should. It could still go either way, but I think they would have repeated.
Odds are 2013 would also go to the Lakers as well. So
Right.
that's 2 straight. Great.
Yeah.
Now, 2014, it was essentially a throwaway year for the Lakers. This was Kobe was out the whole year because of Achilles. Dwight left.
Yeah.
It was essentially a forgettable year for the team.
Randall got injured first game of the season, and then
Yeah.
we would even
and
got
then-
Randall if we're playing the finals last 2
Yeah,
games.
I think in this scenario we wouldn't have had those lottery picks. So we can take those off the board.
This though is my hot take for 2014.
What's that?
I think that the Spurs would have beaten the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
I wouldn't be. I don't think that's a hot take at all.
That was the beautiful game year.
I don't think that's a hot take at all. The Spurs were godly that year.
That was a beautiful game.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, the way they moved the ball that year.
Yeah, they had 62 wins that year.
Yeah.
They were just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
This was their year. And Danny Green, they had that core that they had, right? With obviously Kawhi and Patty Mills and Tony Parker.
Patty Mills, Ginobili, Tony Parker. Tim
This was it.
Duncan.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think that's a
Um,
hot take at all.
it's not a hot take. Oh, okay.
No, 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 I don't
Flag,
think it's a hot take
flag
at all.
splitter. Yeah. Nah, they moved the ball so well.
I think 2014 is just the Spurs were just too good that year.
Mm,
Even if, and take note, the Lakers would have been coming off of two straight at that point
right.
if this holds true.
Mm,
And at that point, Kobe would have been
gas.
34,
Yeah.
35. He would have
Yeah.
been. I mean, I think this is the time that we're gonna start asking the question: Would is Kobe about to retire?
Mm,
So obviously he retired 2 years after
after.
because
Yeah.
of all the injuries. Let's keep
Mm,
that. So let's assume that Kobe's already on his decline by this point. I
yeah.
don't. Sure, he's gonna have a little less wear and tear on him because
Mm,
of the triangle and how much help he's gotten. But at the end of the day, he still he still has a lot of mileage in his body, and he's
yeah.
just too competitive and just
Mm,
pushes himself too much
yeah.
to even be competitive at this age. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think 2014 and 2015 and even 2016 we can keep that
Yeah.
as how it is,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
think
Also brings us back to the question: like, if all this happened, would Kobe have torn his Achilles?
well,
You
number one, that's not gonna happen. I don't think he's gonna have
see, he
to
doesn't
tear
even
it.
play 48 minutes a game.
Yeah, yeah, it's not gonna happen. We're
Yeah.
gonna discuss this in a future episode, but you
Yeah.
know, I think this is gonna happen in this scenario. He just has too
Mhm.
much help. He's
Yeah.
not gonna be compelled to play 40 plus minutes
No.
anymore.
No.
But the Father Time would just eat him up.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's just at this point where even without the injury, sure he was playing well, but
Mhm.
in a reduced role, having so at that point, Kobe would have had 7 rings already,
Right.
right? If this holds true.
Yeah.
At that point, he probably would have said, I'm done. I passed Mike. I'm good.
The best mic I'm done.
I
Yeah.
passed Mike. I'm done. That's it. He
Yeah.
got 7. That's it,
Mhm.
right? So I think from a competitive standpoint, there's really no point for him to stay,
Mhm.
given this situation. He already
Yeah.
has 7. There's no point in
No
chasing
point. Yeah.
anything else, right?
Mhm.
So I think he still retires in 2016.
Yeah.
He's still as competitive, but he
Mhm.
retires in 2016, and we can keep that timeline. And
Right.
the question, the question we want to ask here is that there's two things that this super team forming and the trade not getting vetoed
Uh-huh.
raises two things. One is, well, we've already answered, right? The Heat would have been successful. LeBron probably would have had just one ring at this point.
At this point, one. Yeah.
At this point, we answered that.
Yeah.
Another one that I wanted to discuss was the Clippers.
Yeah.
Remember, Chris Paul went to the Clippers.
No
Without
lobster.
this, what happens to the
Yeah.
Clippers? What do you think?
It's still gonna be the same mediocre. Because remember, when Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, Lob City was the era that changed the Clippers
Yeah,
from
right.
bottom dwellers, from mediocres, like from LA's other team to you know. But regardless, just because Donald Sterling is just not a nice guy.
He's not.
He, I think the ownership would still change, but I don't think Lob
Would
City would have
Ballmer buy
happened.
it? Would Ballmer still buy
No,
the
I
team? You
don't
think?
think so. Yeah,
It's not as attractive, right?
it's
Without
not as
Lob City,
attractive. Yeah,
they would have. Yeah, they still would have had Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan there, but
yeah,
well, to be fair to them, they had that season where Sam Gasol was there. They went to the playoffs, right?
right.
But I
Yeah.
think that was a one-off or a couple. It
For
wasn't. It wasn't
one off.
sustainable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, look, after the Clippers got Chris Paul, and Kobe was declining. I mean, let's face it, the Clippers were winning against the Lakers at that time. That was their
They were
most
blowing
dominant
him out.
stretch, right?
They were blowing
Yeah,
him out. Yeah,
they were blowing him out, right?
yeah,
The Lakers were just too bad, and the
yeah,
Clippers were just too good,
yeah.
and they just struggled. So that would have been erased.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, yeah, the Clippers won't probably be bought by Ballmer. They would have still been the little brother. They would have sucked.
Yeah.
So the final thing I wanted to ask, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
given the fact that what would happen is Kobe would retire in 2016, and they would still have Chris Paul and Dwight Howard
And Dwight
in
Howard,
their
yep.
primes. They would be
Right.
29, 30 at this point. Now,
Yep.
the Warriors in 2016 did something very significant, right? So 2016 had that cap spike,
Yep.
and Kobe's, I think, 24, 30, 40 million $30 million contract would come off the books.
Yep.
Essentially, the Lakers would have a max slot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
2016 was when the cap spike happened,
Yeah.
and the salary cap went up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we had the Warriors winning in 2015 and losing against the Cavs in 2016.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think would have happened to Kevin Durant? Because
Oof.
that was the year he went to
30
the
million
Warriors.
cap space.
He would have had a choice to play with
That opportunity.
CP3 and Dwight
Yeah.
Howard,
Dwight Howard.
or the Splash Brothers and Draymond. What do you think? Would you think he would have chosen the Lakers in that scenario?
Oh yeah,
You
100%.
think? You think?
100%. Yeah.
You think?
Yep.
I mean, I think Kobe would have had a huge hand in that as well. He probably would have recruited
yeah.
KD hard. He definitely would have called him up for sure.
Oh yeah.
So you'd have KD at 28, and then
Yep.
CP3 and Dwight at 29. My God, I can't. Again, this is just too much, man. That's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Uh-huh. It
So
kind of goes to show you how, one move can change the entire landscape.
It's a butterfly effect, man.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
crazy.
button effect. Yeah.
That would have been possible. I think
Yeah.
you're right. I think that would have been completely
Yeah.
plausible. that
For all you
Durant
gamers
ended up-
out there, that's why NBA 2K Eras is there. You know?
Are you playing that right now?
I am, yeah.
I think we gotta go. I think it's crossplay. So I'm on PC. So I'm gonna invite you one of these
Oh,
days
you're
to
on
play.
PC? I'm on PS.
Yeah. Now we can. I think we can play.
We
I
can
think we can play
crossplay?
together.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, they can crossplay now.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. I'm not.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm not sure about PC. Sorry, I'm not
Uh-huh.
sure about PC.
Okay.
But we can see. I
Yeah.
can buy it. It's on sale right now. But yeah, man. Look, that would have been sick. Right? KD on the Lakers
Right.
after Kobe retired.
Uh-huh.
That would have been. That's it. That big three could
That's a
have
dynasty.
taken the
That's a
lead.
dynasty right there.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, so Lakers would have had 18, 19, probably 20 championships by now if that's the case.
Yeah.
Now, Lakers have 17 because of LeBron. Thank you,
Yeah.
LeBron. But they would have had 20 if this essentially didn't get vetoed.
Yep.
Imagine two words just changing the course of history that
Yeah.
bad
Yep.
for this team.
Basketball
Now,
reasons.
basketball reasons. I will never forget that term.
Yeah.
I think every basketball fan has a reason, a love-hate relationship with that word.
Right.
And it's you mentioned it. It goes to show that just one action,
Yep.
so much consequences at it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Look, man, I think this has been a fun discussion,
Yep.
and I know we got a couple more what ifs down
We
the
got a couple
line.
more what ifs. Yeah.
So I'm really excited about this. So, this I like the series. I like where it goes, and hopefully the next discussion that we have
Yeah.
is gonna be a lot more exciting
Yeah.
discussions.
Yep. Yep. Cool.
That's it. Then we probably need to wrap this.
We just wrapped up. Yeah.
It was fun. I
It
can't
was
wait
fun,
to do
yep.
this again.
Let's do it
And
again.
I'll see you soon.
All right.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody.
Peace.
We out.